In this video, we have a substantial multi-day severe weather outbreak likely to unfold with strong long-track tornadoes, widespread hurricane force winds, and some very large hail. And if that's not enough, we have a crippling ice storm on the northern side and a crippling snowstorm as well. So a lot to go over in today's forecast, so make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. And like I said, over the next couple of days, here's tonight's threat for severe weather. We have a slight risk across portions of the central high plains into the southern high plains. And then we're also looking at an enhanced risk of severe weather in the orange across the Ohio River Valley, all the way back down toward the mid and lower Mississippi Valley there on Sunday. And then it shifts east into the mid-Atlantic, northeast, and southeast as we go into Monday. So a very noisy end of March is in store, and it's all the culprit of this very strong mid-latitude cyclone or low pressure system here across portions of the central high plains. And it's going to strengthen as it shifts northeastward toward Wisconsin, northern Illinois on Sunday, and then it moves into southeastern Canada into Quebec on Monday as a 991 millibar low. That's a pretty strong low pressure system here for late March standards. And let's look here more closely under the lens at the severe weather threat here for tonight. This is mainly an overnight setup. So after dark, we do have a slight risk of severe weather across portions of southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, much of Oklahoma here, and extreme northwest Arkansas. A secondary slight risk here across north central Texas. We're also monitoring some stronger storms down near New Orleans and Gulfport, Mississippi. Those areas have a marginal risk here heading into the evening. The biggest threats as those storms initially evolve will be some large to very large hail. Those hailstones could be up to baseball size across west central Oklahoma. We're talking Elk City over here to the Oklahoma City metro, south and westbound toward Lawton and Fort Sill. Also, Dallas-Fort Worth on southwestward towards central Texas. We'll be keeping an eye on that baseball size hail potential as well. We also have to keep an eye on some rotating storms. There is a 5% upgrade to this tornado potential across the Oklahoma City metro towards Stillwater and then up there toward Tulsa as we go through this evening and overnight. 2% chance across the Kansas City metro, Springfield, Jefferson City, Missouri, up into southern Iowa. Also a 2% chance down across New Orleans and Gulfport, Mississippi. As those storms grow upscale into what we call a bow echo, they're going to bow out here, and that will give a good rush of wind down from the thunderstorm itself. Could be seeing wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour across portions of Missouri here toward Joplin, Springfield, up toward Rolla, and even towards the Jefferson City region, Tulsa. Those areas could be seeing some significant wind damage as we go into Sunday morning. And it's all because we have a very potent dry line here into the eastern plains. Ahead of the dry line, warm, moist, and unstable air. Our dew points are going to be into the 50s here, and even some 60s dew points ahead of that as well. Look at the dry air behind the dry line. So the displacement from the drier air to the moist air is going to create lift for those thunderstorms, and that's what we call instability. We have a lot of instability here, so those air parcels are going to be able to rise, create those big towering cumulonimbus thunderstorm clouds, and those could produce some severe weather. We have over 1,000, even over 2,000 joules per kilogram. And simply put, the higher the number, the higher the chance for thunderstorms to develop and the more unstable for severe weather. So we look here at the updraft helicity signature, and this is basically just showing you the brighter the color, the more significant those thunderstorms could be. Notice how they are starting back here in western Oklahoma and traveling northeastward. Pretty significant thunderstorms being depicted here in northern and northeast Oklahoma, extreme southeastern Kansas, and into west central portions of Missouri. And this could be for a couple of things. Could be from hail, could be from some widespread damaging winds of hurricane force, or even a couple of tornadoes, something to monitor. Notice you also see that down into north central Texas as well. So here's the radar here so far this evening around 8 o'clock. We're watching and waiting for initiation back here into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Those storms will quickly initiate sometime around 9 o'clock this evening, give or take 20 minutes or so, but they will initiate very quickly, and hail and winds will be the primary threat here once they develop, maybe even a few tornadoes, and then the wind threat with heavy rain will take over. Notice the backward C shape on those storms as they cross from Kansas, Oklahoma into Missouri. Could have a strong hurricane force wind gust or two on the leading edge of that, 75, perhaps even 80 miles per hour. Those storms will have a tendency to push through Missouri, but once they reach Macomb, Macomb, Quincy, Illinois, over there toward the St. Louis metro. They'll be losing some luster as they move toward the Mississippi River, outrunning the better instability as the instability kind of gets pinched off here. But some heavy rain, some gusty winds to wake up the morning there in west central Illinois will be possible. And then that leads us to tomorrow. We have a very large, widespread, and substantial area of severe weather, literally from Ontario, Canada, all the way back into Texas. In the yellow, that's a slight risk, level 2 out of 5. In the orange, that's an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5. And I do believe a moderate risk of 4 out of 5. And the cherry red will likely be introduced with the newer outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center right smack dab here in the mid-Mississippi River Valley by tomorrow. And the biggest threats to start the day will be large to very large hail. As those storms initially evolve, they're going to take advantage of all that instability and produce potentially up to baseball-size hail again from central and southern Indiana down through Illinois, western Kentucky, Missouri, most of the state of Arkansas, western Tennessee, eastern Oklahoma into northeast Texas and northwestern Louisiana. Then we could also see rotating storms, and some of these could produce some strong to even intense long track tornadoes. And when we say long track tornadoes, that means they're on the ground for a long period of time, 10, 20, even 30 minutes at a time. And it's those tornadoes that are on the ground the longer period of time that are usually the stronger ones, and that is something to watch out for. And also, this could be a nighttime tornado setup here, especially in this brown and yellow shaded color that is hatched in, and those hatch marks mean strong to intense tornadoes could be possible. And then a widespread hurricane force wind gust threat as a big QLCS line moves through the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley down toward the lower Mississippi River Valley, could be bringing us some widespread 75 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts along its path. The setup for tomorrow is very similar, except we have more moisture at our disposal than we do here for tonight's threat. We actually do have a lot more moisture in the form of mid and even upper 60s dew points advecting north all the way to the southern Great Lakes there for Sunday afternoon, which is by far the strongest warm sector we have seen this far north to this season. And that is going to yield some very strong instability, 2, even 3,000 joules per kilogram of some instability here in the yellow and red. And remember, the higher the number, the higher the chance for thunderstorms and severe weather. So we look here at the wind shear, right? Wind shear is very important for tornadoes and tornado genesis. Look at the surface. We have winds coming in out of the south, very strong, sustained 15, 25 miles an hour, and gradient winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour or more there at the surface. We look around a kilometer above our heads in the 850 millibar layer, that is the low-level jet, and this is coming more out of the south and west, already turning of the winds with height, and this is over 60 knots, perhaps 70 knots here, maximizing across Indiana. And then we look at our mid-level jet. This is our 500 millibar jet streak here, rounding the base of that negatively tilted trough, and notice how it has a big jet punch right there across Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, over 70 knots, and that could be quite strong there into Sunday. So looking here at the max updraft helicity, notice how widespread these significant storms could be. That's why we have such a large enhanced risk, likely going to see a moderate risk upgrade here to the cherry red. Look at the bright colors too, and you can see how long these tracks are. That's where we could see either hail, winds, and even long track tornadoes as we go through Sunday. So Sunday morning, a weakening complex of storms across Missouri into western Illinois. Those will create more storms as we go across Illinois into Missouri. As soon as around noon to 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, those storms will be shifting east, and that will unzip storms down the cold front, down into the boot heel of Missouri, northeastern Arkansas there, say towards Jonesboro, and into eventually the Little Rock area. And then more storms developing south and west from there. Texarkana, Shreveport, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and those could be supercells as far south as that area, producing tornadoes. And then a big QLCS line overnight. This is an overnight tornado setup, but also widespread damaging winds crossing through Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, all the way down into Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. Multiple states at risk here, and not to mention significant heavy rainfall, flash flooding will be a threat overnight there on Sunday. Then it shifts eastward with the cold front on Monday. We have a large slight risk in yellow all the way up to New York State. Yeah, New York City and Albany, New York could be in the threat zone for severe weather. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Trenton, all the way down to Roanoke, there into Raleigh, into Columbia, Atlanta, New Orleans, even into Montgomery there, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Tallahassee, you guys name it. There's tons of big cities at the risk here. Millions of people impacted even on Monday. Notice we have some big time thunderstorms there Monday afternoon into the evening, and notice they're going to be more scattered, kind of a broken line. Winds and hail will be the main threat, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, some quarter size, maybe golf ball size hail at times with the stronger storms. Even a few tornadoes will be possible, and we won't get rid of those storms until after midnight Monday and into Tuesday morning. And notice on the cold side, a crippling ice storm setting up across the upper Great Lakes region in southeastern Canada, nosing its way over into the northeast. In the pink, that is freezing rain and sleet. Notice it's a long duration ice event, which is very significant here for some travel. Hazardous and even dangerous travel, quite frankly, is expected as we go through the day on Sunday and into Monday up here. Travel is not advised across southern Ontario, southern Quebec, or the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin. That's where we're going to have the most significant rain or snow and ice. The snowfall threat, especially into southern Ontario and Quebec, could be seeing 6 to 12 inches there of some snow, so a plowable snow event for you. But then we're also going to be looking at crippling ice totals, a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice, very significant in northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, northern lower Michigan, and then the most significant ice there in southern Ontario and Quebec. Something to keep an eye on there. And even as we head over into the northeast, areas like New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine, and even northwestern Massachusetts could be getting a glaze to upwards of a 1/4 inch of ice as well. And again, could lead to widespread power outages that could last several days at a time. As we go into next week, this is into the middle of next week, another potent trough moving in across the west coast. That trough right now is up toward the Aleutian Islands, up toward Alaska. That'll crash onto the west coast early next week, and by the middle of the week, we have warmer air to the east, colder air to the west, and you can see exactly the temperature gradient there is exactly where that storm track will set up. Think of it as a highway for storms, and you can see that cold front early on in the week, Tuesday morning, going to scour out our moisture, but here comes the moisture once more, pumping north out of the Gulf here on Tuesday into Wednesday, and just multiple days even after that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even into the following week on Monday, April 7th, seeing a lot of moisture for severe weather here. So that will give us a lot of storm energy. Looking at the storm energy here, the brighter the colors, the more instability, storm energy we have, and we just have multiple days of that, really all the way through around April 7th timeframe. And look at the trough coming in. This has a stronger synoptic push to our winds on Tuesday. The nose of that mid-level jet streak could create some severe weather across the central high plains into the western Midwest. And then Wednesday just looks like a downright high ceiling severe weather threat here. This could be another moderate risk day for severe weather on Wednesday. We look here at the Tuesday setup on April 1st. This is not a joke at all. We actually do have a slight risk of severe weather from Omaha to Des Moines, southward of the Kansas City metro and Topeka. This could expand and upgrade it into coming days as well. And then we have a large slight risk covering Chicago, Detroit, back down toward Dallas, Fort Worth, Tulsa, over there into Shreveport, into Knoxville and Crossville, Tennessee, Columbus, Dayton, Toledo, a lot of areas you guys understand. And then you can see in the orange, that is an enhanced risk of severe weather that could also expand and get upgraded to a moderate risk as we do get closer. Notice here the first storm between now and Tuesday morning on April 1st, bringing us a couple of inches of rain. And then once we get the second storm in here, that's going to be over similar areas, and that could create some significant saturated soil and some flooding here from the Ohio River Valley all the way back here toward Arkansas. I think Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, and southern Indiana are going to be the prime area for double-digit rainfall totals. That could add up to 12, maybe even as much as 15 inches locally in some areas. And you can see that area, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Memphis, up to Clarksville and Jackson, Tennessee. Bowling Green up to Louisville and Evansville, Indiana, even to Cincinnati, could be a prime area for some double-digit rainfall totals. Again, 12 to as much as locally 15 inches of rain between the two systems going between now and Saturday, April the 5th. And as we finally go into the second week of April, we get a big pattern flip here in place, which we need because we're going to have a busy next couple of weeks here. And you can see we're going to go to the west and see a trough. You go to the east, go to the west, see a ridge. You go to the east, you see a trough. And with the trough, you see much cooler temperatures, and we're going to have a big temperature flip. It's warmer now, that's creating the severe weather, while the colder air coming down from the south from Canada and the Arctic is actually going to be creating some cooler air. Now, again, it's not January, it's not February, January, so this will be modified Arctic air, but it'll be pretty cold for early, second week of April standards, with 15 to 20 below, normal temperature anomalies in the east and warming up a little bit out west. Colder air is drier air, and that means a drier pattern, and finally maybe trying to dry up that soil after some flooding potential from Arkansas into the Ohio River Valley in the Midwest once we get into the second week there of April. Thank you all for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And to stay ahead of the storms, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more accurate, reliable, and detailed weather information. We'll do live streams potentially here on the severe weather and at least severe weather forecasts, with videos as well, so turn on post notifications for any additional live streams and videos that I do produce on my channel. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, make sure to jot them down in the comment section down below. If you want to follow me on Twitter at hweather420, that's in the description down below the video. Follow me there for rapid fire updates